Tell us about how you're feeling now that you've gotten this franchise into its second CONCACAF Champions League semifinal, chance to collect another trophy, great aggregate win, 6-0.
Yeah, our objective tonight was to advance into the next round. We're happy with that. I'm also happy and pleased with the performance, especially over 2 legs. Last round we achieved a very good performance in leg 1. Leg 2 was so-so, but this round, we had 2 strong performances. So I'm very pleased with that. I'm pleased with the progression of the team, and it's a competition we really want to continue on in. And if we have a chance to win, we would love that. But the semifinals will be very tough. All of the teams left in the tournament are quite strong, so it becomes much closer. But we're looking forward to the challenge and opportunity.
Hi, Coach. Congratulations on advancing. Despite obviously having El Tráfico at the weekend, you put out a very strong lineup, up 3-0 already in aggregate. Should that we take from that this is the priority? CONCACAF Champions League is the goal right now, and then once it's over, maybe you switch to MLS, or what is that? What should we take from that strong lineup that you put out, despite all of those circumstances?
You can read into it as much as you want and whatever you want. That's your job. We try to win games, as many as possible, and there's plenty of time to recover before the Galaxy game. We don't play till Sunday.
Okay, and then it looked like a lot of the success that you had going forward was just playing the ball over the top, bypassing the midfield a lot of the time. Was that a game plan, or just how the game planned out?
Sometimes it kind of is what the opponent presents in that moment, and we try to train our players in a way with principles and habits, and they can use what tools that they have and they've learned in training in those moments in the game. So to think of it as a toolbox, and the bigger the better. And if they recognize which tool is right in that moment, then we look good. And that's what we try to do, and that's how we try to train the boys. And tonight they did found the space in behind. It was talked about prior to the game. Vancouver had to come out and do something, so they cannot cover everything and they can't just sit back and be passive. They had to come forward a little bit, so yes, we did talk about the space in behind, but that is a part of our game model regardless of today's match and the matchup with second leg and aggregate and all that.
Steve, 4th straight clean sheet for you guys. I mean, so much talk about the firepower in the offense, but four straight shutouts, it seems like a pretty big deal. How do you feel about the cohesion defensively in the unit, and just the results you're getting seem to be pretty effortless, although they're not, but they appear that way. How do you feel about the rhythm that you're in?
We feel very good, but it's also a time to try to improve. It's an easy moment to teach and to learn and to accept criticism, and that's what we're trying to do. I thought the defensive performance in the first 25 minutes was not very good. We just kept backing up and dropping and trying to find safety in numbers, which is not the way we want to play, and actually got pretty lucky in the 5th minute to not go down a goal. And we talked about it at half, and the improvements were there right away. We're back to our way of defending in football, and I don't think we conceded a shot in the second half. So that's what we wanted to see. But yeah, we're very pleased with keeping a clean sheet over a few weeks now, and that is, as far as I know in this game, and the recipe to success is to defend well and at moments be effective in front of goal.
Following up on that, Steve, you were a defender. And people look at this team, they see Boanga and Carlos and all the offensive firepower, as you said. Do you think people sleep a little bit on your defense, and you're not really getting the credit for being as good defensively as you have been?
I'm not sure. I think that's a question for others, but I do know we have some amazing defenders. 4 very good center backs, 3 incredible outside backs. All of them could be starters. And obviously George has played at the highest level for a very, very long time, and sees things a step or 2 ahead. And other players see that as well and feed off of that. And so, yeah, we have very talented individual players, but we also try to connect the dots between our back line, our midfield, and our attackers to have answers defensively as a collective in every portion of the field, whether we're higher up, in the middle or deep in our own end. And the players have seemed to understand that and which moment of the game we're in and which defensive tactics we need for that moment. With the exception, again, for the first 20 minutes today. But I think that had a little bit to do with the moment and then Vancouver throwing a lot of numbers forward. But for the most part, we've had a lot of answers this season defensively, and that's something we will continue to work on. It's a game of habits, and if you stop doing it, players will stop doing it on the field. So we will continue. I can promise you that as a next defender, we will continue to work defensively. I know my players aren't always fond of it, but I think they're also reaping the benefits.
And John with 6 saves.
Yeah, he came up big early, and it's very important for us to have a keeper in goal. And in Vancouver, I think 19th, 20th minute, Tristan Blackman had a pretty decent look after a set piece. John made a big save to keep it 0-0. Otherwise, this whole series looks a little different then. So, yeah, having a keeper in goal who's there when we need him, which is the key at LAFC, you're not going to get a whole lot of looks or chances to look good, which is how we prefer it. But when we've needed him, he's been there.
Coach, Coach Venny didn't really. He praised your work with his team. He said it's easier to play when you have Sifu and Chiellini on the bench, but he also said that you've done an excellent job in getting all the stars to play cohesively together. What do you feel is that you brought to this team that has turned it around and has really made it very hard to beat? What is your personal touch to this success?
Yeah, again, I think that's maybe a question for the players, but I don't like to talk about my own personal work. What I can tell you is that we treat all of the players as people and human beings first, and maybe football players second. So what they do on the field and what we ask of them in tactics is secondary. I think everybody enjoys their time here at LAFC. Everybody comes to work with a smile. And that goes a long way in building relationships and then connecting certain players with other players and building small groups. But generally speaking, my staff and I, we love to build relationships with the players. And we all understand that not every player likes to hear my voice. Not every player likes to hear Mark's voice or Ante's or Oka's. And so we try to find the ones who we pair up well with. And judging by my players' faces week in and week out and their performances, I think we aren't the worst choices for them as coaches. What's going on out there?
Laker game.
Of course, we're in America.
Sorry, Steve, me again. I just wanted to ask you, how is it that the guys are able to sort of focus so easily on such a quick turnaround? You just played on Saturday, you got another game Tuesday, you have a traffic go on Saturday. You know, how are the guys able to mentally be able to handle so many games in this congested schedule?
It's a good question. I think that has to do with experience in the locker room. I think we have a lot of players who have done this before. That helps. I believe the way we are tactically and physically loading players helps in those regards. At the right moments, giving the players the information they need, and also at the right moments, taking the information away and letting them just enjoy and recover. And so keeping a close eye on that, which means we observe a lot, see how players are mentally and physically. Is it a learning day? No. Is it a loading day? Maybe. Or is it a recovery day? And so far, it's been quite organic or homogenic with the group that we've all been kind of on the same page, and that's really important. And we'd like to finish this week with a strong note.
Last question on the vision.
Go ahead, Felipe Vallejo.
Vancouver came out with quite an attacking and unorthodox lineup. Were you expecting such a lineup? And if not, how did you adjust to it so that you could exploit it as much as you did in this match?
Yeah, it was an offensive lineup. There had a lot of attacking players in the field. They threw numbers forward first. We did expect that. Not the names, but we certainly did expect them to play on their front foot and to try to pin us down and to score early. They had to, and so we did expect that. We expected some space in transition, which we also exposed for the first penalty. But yeah, the names are always a surprise. But the way we play and our focus a little bit on transition tonight seemed to be the correct recipe for their all-out attack in the first 20 minutes. And I think after we scored one goal, it kind of took the wind out of their sails, and it was quite manageable after that.
And with such statement wins that you are now putting out, how do you plan to deal with the growing pressure that comes from being called the best team in CONCACAF, as Coach Vanny puts it, as you continue to succeed in multiple competitions?
It's an opinion of others. I personally really don't. I mean, obviously, I respect Vanny and his opinions and our conversations, but the best team in CONCACAF is the one that wins the Champions League, and nobody's won that yet. So right now, it's Seattle because they won it last year. So we still have a lot of work to do. We are constantly trying to get better and win games and try to keep ourselves in all the competitions we're in, MLS, Champions League, soon Open Cup, and so forth. So any competition we're in, we're trying to stay in it and go as far as we can and to win as many matches as possible. I think for us, it's important not to look back at what we've done and always look forward and keep trying to improve because the reality is we still can improve. And I can speak for myself and the staff, we won't stop until we get to the point where we'll all sit here and say, all right, we're at our limit, but we're not there yet.